be my new introduction to videos. So I'm going to explain, I often moo at people on the phone. For years I did it, and now I do it on the internet, and I do it in emails, and I do it in person to many people. And I've had a few people insist that I explain why I think I'm a cow. Or why I'm obsessed with cows is how some people put it, which is not actually what happened at all. And I basically explained it as a piece of performance art. And the origin of it was this. I used to play a video game an online game called Guild Wars, and they had, obviously they had male and female characters. And I had a couple male friends who were late teens, early 20s, who played all female characters and made them as hot as possible and as scantily clad as possible. And I eventually, between that, the ridiculousness of that, and I asked them why they did that, and they said that they'd prefer to be staring at a hot female body the whole time they play their video game, which I found slightly disturbing and un-PC and sexist. But the other thing is, I think one of these people ran into a guy playing a guy character who was hitting on her, and him, her, whatever you want to say in the game, whatever their identity was in the game, and he got offended immediately and said, "Hey, I'm not a girl guy, stop hitting on me." And the other guy, the guy who was playing the guy and hitting on her, said, "Oh man, why are you playing a female character then? That's false advertisement." Anyway, I've seen several arguments about this over the years online. And the fact is, when you're playing a role-playing game and you're playing a female character, you are a female on the game. And there's no reason that people should be... there's often, I played many games where there's flirting done, and the flirting shouldn't be based on who the person behind the keyboard is, who the controller is, who the player is. It should be based on the character, because it is a role-playing game. But some people have big problems with this. This is kind of one of the, this is a huge tangent I'm not going to go on, but this is why I really don't have a big problem with the transgender community, because in video games you essentially experience that on a regular basis. Anybody who's played any kind of massive online game or Second Life or anything like that is used to the idea of males playing females, females playing males, and treating the female who plays the male as a male on the game, even if you're not going to do that in real life. Anyway, it becomes all very sticky and strange as far as identity and what identity is and how you identify yourself and how other people identify you and how you can interchange that. And I found the whole thing, I had a couple friends, I think it was just one friend I was pretty good friends with, who was just furious that somebody he had been flirting with for months, a female character in the game, ended up being male. And he was, felt that he had been I guess, lied to and taken for a ride by this other character and railed against him. I knew the other guy too, so I talked to him and I knew it was a guy. I didn't really care if it was a guy or a girl. I knew it as a girl in the game. I treated it as a girl, and I eventually had a conversation with him, heart to heart, saying, "Why did you lead this guy on?" And she's like, "I never led the guy on. He made assumptions. He never asked me what my sex was in real life. We never talked about any real life issues. It was all in-game role playing. So there was no, which I had experienced with this guy. So I knew that was the case. That she was simply role playing. It wasn't anything more nefarious than that. The fact that my other friend got so offended and dismayed by this, I just found ridiculous. So this is maybe a decade ago, and from that point on. The ridiculousness of this conversation, and it might have started immediately, but I started identifying myself as a cow in real life and trying to convince people that even though I was playing a male or female human or elf or whatever character on the game, that I was actually a cow in real life. And, some people would take that at face value and say, all right, whatever you say, and other people would just kind of glide past it. Some people would delve into it and ask me more questions, like, how are you typing? And I would say, well, I have a special ergonomic keyboard that allows my hooves to type the keys. It's a very large setup. And they said, well, how did a cow get access to the internet? And I said, well, I had the farmer who lives near me set up an internet account for me, and I steal internet from him. And how did you get a computer? Well, the farmer throws out a bunch of old computers, and I just cobbled together a makeshift computer in my barn. And over the years, I developed more and more explanations as to how I was conceivably a cow in real life. And cows are actually this hidden race, much like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, this hidden race of super intelligent beings that are sent here to, or are in the process of educating us for revolt to overtake the humans. Similar to Animal Farm, the book Animal Farm, and or the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, with the white mice, the dolphins, and in Animal Farm, the pigs. And somehow this has lasted, actually it's probably been more than 10 years, it's been more like 15 years, where it has expanded and into other areas of my life, and people who knew me on Guild Wars and then friended me on Facebook constantly moo at me and made cow noises at me. And it went so far in the game that people that I knew were very, very annoyed by the fact that I was portraying myself as a cow in real life, which should be really the point is it should be none of their friggin' business what I am in real life. It's a role-playing game. I don't go on a video game to get to know people in real life. If I want to know people in real life, I'll go and meet people in real life. They're two separate things. But the point, it got so bad that I would enter guilds who would insist that I get some kind of communication, online communication like Skype or Vent or TeamSpeak, or what's the new one they have? There's a new one they have now that I use. And I would say, okay, I can go online, but you're not going to understand anything I say. All I do is moo. And they're like, no, you're not really a cow. And I'm like, no, I really am. And then I'd go online and moo to them, and they would, it was quite, and they'd get more and more mad that I was portraying myself as a cow. But it was, again, like I said, it's performance art more than anything else, and a social commentary on identity and the internet, and how it's easy to obfuscate all those separate things. Anyway, just a slight update on why I'm a cow, and why I will continue to be a cow, and moo.